I mean, the buzz around here is amazing. People are so excited. Teams playing great, and like you said, it's that consistency of winning that I think breeds the confidence in being able to close the deal. Maybe on the division, no, you always knock on wood and don't take anything for granted. But the acquisitions have turned out great. And the other thing about this team that I was talking to Dan Farrell the other day, who's been here 40 years, and I said, Dan, do you ever remember a team with more interesting storylines than this one? And he said, he kind of thought for a minute, and he's like, no, I don't. I can't remember any. You know, when you think about just the winning club and what they've done on the field, A. B, you know, Goldie's pursuit of a Triple Crown and his MVP-like season so far. Arenado right behind him in those categories. Obviously, the Albert story is just incredible. And that's before you even talk about Yachty's final season and what Waino's doing at age 40 and his swan song seasons. It's just, there's a million of them. And there's others I haven't even talked about, the young players who are evolving in front of our eyes. So many, many storylines. I think you're seeing that in the gate and our fans turning out and really having fun watching this team.
No doubt about it. And the emergence of young players continues to be a factor, an increasing factor. I mean, since Ali, and I praise him for it, when he sort of went with a new lineup approach on August 11th, where against right-handed pitchers it was going to be Nootbaar, Donovan, 1-2, almost no matter what, this offense has really settled in. I mean, really, really done very, very well. And, you know, and there's two guys that before the year, I would say the expectations were fairly modest. So we knew that the Cardinals liked Donovan, and we knew that they liked Nootbaar. But for them to play at the level that they have, I mean, that's how really good teams start to, start to take off with help from people like that.
Yeah, absolutely. When you see Nootbaar emerging as like a really good leadoff hitter actually now, and as good of a year as he's had, I don't think anybody would have thrown him at leadoff day one or even halfway through the first half. But, you know, now he's really sort of secured that spot. And Donovan, just a gutsy player. Everybody loves having that kind of guy on their team. Every winning club needs a guy like that. And they're young and still improving. So I'm with you. That's maybe as big as any of the stories that we talked about.
Has Albert Pujols exceeded your expectations? I think we all thought he'd do a really good job against left-handed pitching, but he has transcended even that. How much of a thrill is this for you and your family? I mean, you were there when Pujols made his debut in 2001. He came back. Everyone was happy, but the performance makes it almost perfect. But what were your realistic expectations?
Real answer or fake answer?
Real answer.
No, I didn't expect this level of excitement. You know, to be honest, like the last really 6-week, 2-month run that he's been on has been as exciting as I can remember ever seeing one player come to the plate, with the one exception of McGuire in his home run chase, year of 98. His at-bats feel like that, where you just have that anticipation, something's going to happen, and more often than not, he's been delivering, with that pressure and excitement and all that. And I think actually for him, it's what you're seeing is somebody who's just really relishing it and enjoying the ride, and it's sort of making him better in a way. I mean, I think even the greatest of them all put pressure on themselves that might be limiting, but I don't think Albert's doing that right now. He's just enjoying the ride and going with his instincts, and you're seeing what's happened. Whether it remains at that pace or not, we'll see, but Ali's going to find the best matchups for him, and I don't think he's Ali, that is milestone-oriented. I think he's trying to win games, and Albert's been, the right guy at the right time to win games. I mean, single-handedly, he's won several games for us in the last week or so.
Yeah, no doubt. Bill DeWitt III is with us here on the Bernie Show. It's really good to reconnect with him, and we have a lot to talk about. And mostly, well, I would say pretty much all positive at this point. I wanted to ask you about Ali Marmol. I mean, that when the move was made to change managers, as you know, I mean, people were stunned, and then a lot of people were frustrated. They didn't understand it. I don't really care about that part anymore because that's a long time ago, it seems like. I just want to know what you think of the job that he's done in his first year.
Yeah, I mean, Ali's somebody that when you talk to him or you hear him speak, you instantly realize kind of why we've placed that faith in him. He's just very self-confident, very humble, doesn't seek out the spotlight, but he shines when it's on him. And I think, has sort of a wisdom way beyond his years. It's pretty cool to see. But there's also a little bit of an element of like, if you look hard enough, just how much he's pinching himself too, right? Because those opportunities are so hard to come by when you're in the game and you work your way up from the bottom. But he's gotten this one at a young age, but deserved it based on what he did before. And I think players sense the same thing. They're playing hard for him, and he's a no-nonsense guy. So, there's no BS factor anywhere in the whole thing. So he's got players' respect and management respect and media respect. Those are your three kind of constituencies as a manager to deal with.
Maybe this is because I'm a media person, but the one pleasant surprise is his candor, and he can be blunt at times. And I'm not looking for a manager to shred his own team, but I think, as you recall, under the previous manager, I just got kind of worn out, by like the nonstop praise when it simply wasn't warranted. That Ali is a truth teller, almost to the point where sometimes I'm like, wow, that's pretty blunt. Did you expect that part of him? I think it's been refreshing, but did you expect that aspect of his personality?
I expected it certainly with players in front office. I wasn't sure how the media part of it would play out because we just didn't, have anything to go on. To me, I think it's been, like you said, refreshing. You don't want it to cross the line and unnecessarily agitate a player, obviously.
Right.
But I don't think he's done that. So, I think he's strikes a nice balance between giving the media what they want to hear and the fans, a true sort of synopsis of what happens every game.
Bill DeWitt III with us. On August 2nd, John Mozeliak in the baseball office made those trades for Jose Quintana and Jordan Montgomery. I praised the trades. I thought they were really good. You got to keep all your top prospects, and yet you acquired two guys that were having above average seasons and good guys on top of it. Tell us about the impact that's had on the big picture as far as the morale, just sort of giving the team a boost, and also their performance.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing run for those guys as new players. Sometimes it takes time for a player to adjust after a trade deadline. Both players probably had no idea they were coming to the Cardinals, right before it happened. So for them to come out and do what they've done is pretty remarkable. You're right, though. I mean, when you look at what you're trying to achieve during the trade deadline, certainly not giving up your great prospects. I mean, we've seen where we've had to, in some cases, to get better. But to get better and not give up prospects and, to be honest, not have a giant budget impact either, that's sort of the triple crown of the trade deadline. And, fittingly, it happened with a classic old-school baseball trade, meaning the Yankee trade for Montgomery, giving up Bader. I mean, it wasn't money-related. It wasn't years of control related. It wasn't anything but just they needed an outfielder, we needed a pitcher type of trade. And that's what I mean by old school. And, wishing Bader the best. I think he'll do well for them. He needs to get healthy with his foot issue, but certainly we've loved watching Montgomery and what he's been doing, and he seems rejuvenated. And Quintana, a different look, even though he's also from the left side, but two different lefties that we didn't have that look, and now we've got two different types of them, which is great.
Tyler O'Neill, the last couple of weeks, looks like the Tyler O'Neill of last season. I noted it, something I've talked about. I wrote at scoopswithdannymac.com. He's made major changes in his plate discipline and a lot of things that enable him to be as good as he was last year. Are you buying in that T.O. seems like he's back?
After last night, yes. It's just an incredible. I mean, his home run was unbelievable, and the one that they had, whom I'm blanking, it was
Swanson.
Swanson's home run was just, off of 100 mile, and I don't care if it was down the middle. It was anytime you turn around 100 and put it in the seats. That's impressive. That was one of those where you just tip your cap. You say shoot, but it's like you didn't give it away, And then Tyler does the same thing to them. It was just some of these games have been riveting, and these two teams are very evenly matched. Braves, boy, they've got a solid team top to bottom. There aren't any weaknesses there. But for Tyler, I've always felt good about his prospect for being, a really good major league player. And I think when you have sort of high OPS guys who, get a lot of the OPS points from the slugging side of it. In other words, they're, hit for extra bases and home runs. I think those guys can be a little bit more prone to slumping than the, equivalent OPS guys who hit for average. And that's just sort of my intuition. But I think as they mature, they realize that's who they are, and they can kind of just ride out slumps and stay positive and contribute and do damage. And I don't know if that's what he falls into that category or not, but when he does damage, he does it in bunches, and he can carry a team for weeks.
Bill DeWitt III with us. A couple more things. I have to ask you about the excitement level. You alluded to that at the beginning of our conversation, and we knew it was going to be a special season, just from a nostalgia or sentimental standpoint, very historic with Pujols coming back, Molina's final season, Adam Wainwright and Molina together, their final season, although Adam's future is yet to be determined. But the excitement really has sort of been building all along, and we noticed it when you got around, I don't know, maybe that Cubs series followed by the Yankees. It seemed like Busch Stadium was more alive than it's been, just from energy, for quite a while. What are we looking forward to in September? Because the energy level and the attendance is just going great right now. Is there another level to reach? Will there be a crescendo of sorts in September?
Yeah, I would say it always has a little bit of a different feel in September, no matter what, because the weather starts to turn. The kids go back in school, so you tend to thin out a little on the weekdays, and you regain those big dates, attendance dates on the weekends. And then when you're in the pennant race, you get sort of bolstered even more. So yeah, I just think we're in for what's special about Cardinals baseball when we're in the hunt, which is those subtle changes as every pitch starts to matter. Games start feeling like playoff games. Start scoreboard watching along with your own team. As you get down to the wire, a Brewers loss is every bit as valuable as a Cardinals win, so you have two ways to be happy when you go to bed at night. And it just, all of that's coming next month, and I just couldn't be more excited. I think our fans are too.
Yeah, you're right about it's kind of a must-watch event. I know that when I'm at home and Pujols is up, I'm riveted and 100% paying attention to it. I can say the same is true of my wife. She's been jumping off of couches and doing all that when he homers. It's been fun. It's been so much fun. Also brings back, and I'm sure this applies to you, obviously. It also brings back just these big rolling waves of wonderful memories of Albert Pujols, the Cardinals as a Cardinal, as a young man. it's sort of given me, someone who covered that, Albert, for 11 years, it's given me a chance to just reflect back on those 11 seasons and so many of the favorite things I was able to write about and watch, having a great seat for 11 seasons of Albert Pujols. So it's sort of like you're doubling your pleasure, because in the moment it's incredible, but it also takes you back in time to a very special time in a very special place.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think when the sadness of when he departed was that much more intense, because those memories were so good, and to get them all back and sort of own them again is really a bonus for everybody. I think fans and Albert too. So I'm like you. It's nostalgic, but also because he's playing well, it's sort of giving you glimpses of what he was doing, and having Goldie do what he's doing is almost like a reminder. This is what Albert did every year for 11 years.
I know.
We had that for 11 years. And it seems like he's getting a home run or a big hit or every night. And then you look at those stats, and those were kind of his average stats. Maybe not quite that level if Goldie keeps it up, but in terms of an average. But you know what I mean? It's
I totally know. Yeah. It's been something.
So, it's something.
Hey, listen, thanks. It's great to visit with you again, and thanks for coming on. Enjoyed the conversation. We'll track you down in September at some point and do it again. I've also got to put in a call to your dad. I haven't had him on the show in a long time, so I'll be bugging him as well. So I'm asking you to give him a warning. Let him know. So.
I will, and I know he's on that pace of game committee, or on the rules of the game committee too. You might have asked him about that, because there's some cool stuff coming for next year that he's on the inside of. So just a little hint to tease that.
That's awesome, and he's I know he's fired up about that. So hopefully he'll be a difference maker. I trust that he will. Well, until the next time, enjoy the rest of the season, and continued success to the Cardinals.
Thanks, Bernie. Appreciate it.
See you later. That's Bill DeWitt III. Oh, that's good, knowing that Bill Jr. sounds like he's fired up about the pace of play. And that's good. You want someone in that room that's going to take charge, so